Within every community, there's always a resource person. Not someone who sits at a desk waiting for a task, but those who will take tasks at hand as they come to be. Today on Positive Profiles, we chat with Peter Skeete, that human resource person, a staple within the Haynesville community. Peter, thanks for welcoming us into your community, Haynesville. Tell me a little bit about yourself. Born and bred in Haynesville?
Well, I actually was born and bred in Holdersville, which is a community which adjoins Haynesville. Educated at Good Shepherd, Painesville Infant School, Good Shepherd Primary, Ellerslie Secondary, and then I had a cricket scholarship to Harringay Cricket College in England. So essentially, sports, particularly cricket, has always been my livelihood. I represented the Barbados Cricket League, Maple, Carlton. I also played for the Barbados under-19 team in Guyana in 1985, and I also played professional cricket in England on 3 occasions, 1989, 1991 and 1994. For the last 29 years, I've been employed with the Ministry of Youth, Sports and Community Empowerment as its Youth Commissioner for St. James South, particularly responsible for organizing programs for young people in communities of Haynesville, Holdersville, Fit Village, Prospect, Halls Village, and so on. So essentially, my whole entire life from the time I was 13 or 14 years old has been service to young people and to the community more in particular.
Now, you mentioned your exposure, your external exposure with your scholarship. How has that allowed you to view the various opportunities that you can give back here, back in BIM, to those within the community?
Well, that certainly opened my eyes to opportunities that extended to me. Obviously, on wanting that cricket scholarship and having the opportunity to play professional sports in England, that motivated me to help young people, because I myself was a beneficiary of numerous persons at the community level who had a stake in our development. I also was privileged to have good parents that who we saw provide that level of service. So if you're part and parcel of that sort of discourse, then you're guided by those principles, the principles to serve, the principles to give back to your community, to love your fellow man as you love yourself, and hence that inspires you to do what you've done so far.
Amen to that. Society has changed a lot between back in the 80s and the 70s and the like. But what is that common thread that you found is still needed right here within the community environment?
Well, love for young people, irrespective of how the community has changed over the years. We came up with a view that it takes a village to raise a child. A lot of those principles no longer exist because our young people today are startled by social media. Not many of them are outside playing as what we're accustomed to. So those are the changes that you're seeing within the community, within Barbados as a whole. But we've got to get back to some of those values. We're not going to capture all of them, but what is common is that we must have love, we must have respect, and we must treat our fellow man as we will want ourselves to be treated. And at the same time, have that mindset that we are the ones who must lead. If we are seeing changes in society, if we are seeing deviant and antisocial behavior among a certain target group, then we also must take some blame, because our young people only mirror what they see our elders do. So if we can be that living example of health, then we're on our way to recapture some of the glory days of yesteryear.
I like it. Peter, is all of this learnt at the cricket pitch, at the crease, or have you been imparting some of that wisdom other ways?
Well, sports gives you that sense of purpose, that sense of a unity, that sense of belonging, particularly team sports, not individual sports. And as you know, cricket is a team sport, so it allows you to fight and to look out for one another. But a lot of my principles have also been shaped, as I said, by my parents. I've had outstanding persons to whom I look up to, including one young man called Robert Sandiford. He's a Rasta man, and he has been an inspiration in my development, not from the perspective of a Rasta, because I am not a Rasta, but the principles of teaching, the principles of values, the principles of sharing. I've watched him develop a lot of young people too, and that inspires you. In addition to that, I must also credit the former parliamentary representative. I'm not being political here, but you must call a jacket a spade a spade. And she has been instrumental, having seen me volunteer my services for 7 or 8 years as president of Haines Football Club. She was the one that would give me the opportunity to serve as youth commissioner. And I'm pleased that I have not let her down. And all during the course, I have a wonderful wife who understands what it is about service. The fact that on many occasions I'm away for long hours, working in the community, trying to encourage young people, trying to provide opportunities for them. So all of that support helps guide you, you know, and principles that have been raised in the church. And that too would have played a significant role in your development and the way how you think, the way how you treat the people,
yes,
the way how you treat the issues.
What are some of the core challenges you find that youth come to you with today? What are some of the things that they seem to need the most help with?
I think that they're a myriad of things. Young people, very often you hear them say that they're not getting enough opportunities. I tend to believe that within our society, there are plenty of opportunities for young people, for training, but that must be buttressed with the opportunity to put that training into practice, and at the end of the day, to be able to provide for them income generating opportunities.
Gotcha.
How often do we see loads of our young people training at university, West Indies, other tertiary institutions, but on completion, where's the opportunities to work? So that has been said time and time again. The fact that they do not believe that adults give them the chance. Only yesterday we were at the university with a workshop with the Division of Culture, and that came out, the fact that there are young people who have extreme talents and they want to be able to use these talents to create. They talk about heritage, they talk about culture, past cultures. They want to be able to given the opportunity to develop their own cultures, and to recognize that while we can look at past cultures, they want to be part and parcel of a discourse that allows them to create new initiatives, and for us to be aware that this is the direction to which they want to head.
Now, I'm not trying to pull for favorites here, but there's always a young person that either gravitates to you or you gravitate to them. Is there any such example that you can think of that you've seen them go from an inch to a mile in terms of developmental abilities?
Look, the Haines Youth Club, let's look at the club in particular. This is a community-based organization that myself along with Sophia Lee would have established way back in 2004 to create cultural opportunities in the performing arts for young people. What started out as just dance and drumming as a means to provide that space for them to express themselves. It has now turned into a meaningful income generating exercise for them. We've traveled extensively throughout the Caribbean, sharing with our regional counterparts elements of our Barbadian and African culture. They've won numerous awards at NIFCA. And now, some of those who were in the club from its inception, they're now teaching at various institutions, schools, other communities, colleges, and at the same time, they have passed on the knowledge that they've learned to the younger generation who are now coming up. I speak about Sade Seeley, I speak about Ryan Allen, I speak about Katani Lewis, I speak about Raheem Waldron. These are young people who has been able to turn away from the negative influences out there that has been, to some extent, shape the discourse as far as Haynesville is concerned, because Haynesville is a challenging community, a community that in the past has had its negative stigma. But what they have been able to do is to use their talent and skills to increase the profile of the Haynesville community. So now we're as we see, they're now a staple on the cultural performing arts landscape of this country. I also want to speak about Naval Grizex. Naval Grizex is a young man who've actually followed the same things that I've followed. He's played for the national on the 19th side, played for Maple. He went to England on a scholarship, cricket scholarship. We would have loved for him to represent the West Indies team. I mean, we've been part of developing Ryan Hines, Shamar Brooks. They have gone on to play for the West Indies. But Naval Grizex, he is now the sports scientist at Manchester City Football Club.
Wow. Wow.
Dr. Naval Grizex. I remember that's what he told me. He told me that I am now Dr. Naval Grizex. And here's a young man who has his roots in Haynesville, and we have been responsible for developing him from the time he was 9 years old, part of the junior cricket programs here, and then move on to great things. So those are young people to whom we can speak to. That's Haynesville. I can go then to Hoyt's Village, Kevin Ramsey. He is also in England pursuing studies in engineering. I can go to Fitz Village, a young man called Kyle Burnick, who's a qualified chef. So this work has not only benefited Haynesville, but we can speak to other young persons who develop over the years and has been able to bring joy to themselves, their families, and their communities.
Everything is turned here, BFR. So, BFR here, BFR is rest.